Hello, welcome. Today's video is about the number one mistake that musicians make. And by the end of this video, you should know if you're one of the people who does this. As a disclaimer, I do this too. I'm a professional musician. I've been playing the violin for my entire life, almost. I wanted a violin when I was 2 and I got one when I was 4. So that's a long time that I've been a musician. I'm also an Alexander Technique teacher. I'm the creator of The Art of Freedom. If you've never met me before and this is your first show here with me live, welcome. Welcome to my mind body practice show about life, music, and the Alexander Technique. It's all about musical well-being and joy as a musician. So welcome, and if you're watching the replay, welcome to you as well. I know not everybody can be here live with me, but if you're new to the show, go ahead and type new into the comments. I would love to know where you're from. Just say hi, tell me where you're from. Just go ahead and type that in. Even if you've been watching this every week, other people love to see where you're from. So just type in where you're from. And I just want to say a quick hello to people that are coming on now in the beginning that I know. I just saw Kay and Jill and Linda. Hi. So hello. It's always so nice to have friends coming on, people that are regulars. But yeah, if you're new to this and watching the replay, just type new so I can shout out and say hello. I do see your comments later. So if you're watching later and you have a question, please go ahead and type in a question, and you can tag me and I'll be sure to answer your questions. Also, before I dive into the meat of today's topic, I just want you to know that your comments are really important to me. And please go ahead and just tag a friend or anybody you think who's on Facebook who might be interested in watching this video now or later. Your musical colleagues, teachers, students, friends, anybody you think. Excuse me, I got a little cough today, so I'm going to be clearing my throat a little more. So I should have gotten some water. I didn't think ahead. But anyway, yeah, go ahead and share this video. Let's spread the love and the information and help people be happier musicians. So I do, sorry, again, if you don't know me, I'm Jennifer Roig-Francolí, and my specialty is helping musicians feel better physically and emotionally so that they can play better and really enjoy life as a musician. So today's question is, do you make the number one mistake that musicians make? And I already told you I do this, so I'm an expert. I'm an expert from the inside out. But just, right off the bat, here is the answer. You can have the answer, and then you can leave, join my practice tribe, and make sure you get your free checklist. The links are at the top of this video. So if you don't have time to watch the whole thing, here's the answer. And hopefully that's popping up on my screen. Are you seeing my, yes, there it is. Oh, that's funny. It didn't show the answer. It's just asking, what's the number one mistake? Okay, so the number one mistake, I will tell you, is called end gaining. And this is an Alexander Technique term. This is a term that Alexander kind of made up as he discovered that this was happening to him. Alexander was an actor and he had performance issues. When he would get up on stage, he would do something to himself to cause his head-neck relationship and his whole body, his whole being to get compressed. And that caused his voice to suffer. He became hoarse and therefore he could not act. So big problem. So Alexander didn't get any help from doctors or vocal specialists. I mean, he went and tried to get help from them, but nobody could figure out what was wrong and causing the hoarseness because there was nothing physically wrong with his vocal mechanism. He was perfectly healthy. So they couldn't help him, but he was highly motivated to act. He really loved acting, probably as much as he loved music. And so he decided he was going to figure out what his problem was on his own. So he got full-length mirrors, which he was born in 1869. So Alexander Technique has been around a long time. And at that time, when he was a young man, people didn't have full-length mirrors. So it was pretty he was very motivated again. So he went out and got those mirrors and started observing himself in the mirrors. And over a period of years, watching himself every day like a scientist, taking notes and figuring out what he was doing, he was able to cure his performance issue and improve his voice. So the things that he discovered, he realized later, apply to everybody, and it's not just about the voice. So the root of what he discovered is what I'm talking about today. What he discovered is that we tend to focus as human beings more on the results of what we're doing, the doing of what we're doing, than on the process. So we're not, the number one mistake is to not be in the moment, fully present with our whole selves in what we're doing. We value our doing and our results over our well-being, our whole person, mind, body, soul, spirit, whatever you believe is you. We put what we do with ourselves, we value what we do with ourselves over our well-being, how we are being, the state of our being, our attitude, our outlook, our perspective on life, our state of being. We have it backwards. We have things upside down as human beings. And so, you know, this talk that I'm giving now is really about the human condition. And I felt kind of bad calling it a mistake, but I was hoping to capture your attention. So that's why I put the mistake in the headline. But the truth is, it's not a mistake. It's just human nature. So I don't want you to feel bad in any way or guilty about doing this, because, and that's why I told you right up front, I do this. Everybody does this. And it's not a mistake, it's human nature. However, it's not helpful. The thing is that animals don't do this, but humans do, because we have choice. We have freedom of choice. We are free to choose what to do with our thoughts. We're free to choose what to do with ourselves. We're free to choose our activities. We're just human. So we can choose to think thoughts that are helpful and enhance our well-being, or we can basically be mindless and not choose at all, and therefore go on to default, which is just do mindlessly, not paying attention to what we're doing to ourselves. Or we can consciously choose thoughts that are not helpful. And sometimes we actually do that, even though, you know, if we think about it logically, we don't want to do or think things that are not good for us. But the problem is we do it all the time. So again, what we're doing is valuing our doing over our well-being. We're focusing on results versus the process. And very simply, we're focusing on what we're doing instead of how we're doing it. So I would love to just get a yes from you. I'm seeing Jill says so true. And a big hello to Francisco and Yola. Good morning. I would just love to get a yes and give me like 100 thumbs up if this makes sense to you and you have an inkling of what I'm talking about. So does anybody have any comments on this, what I just threw out there? This is actually incredibly powerful when you really start to absorb the meaning of what I'm telling you. And these are thoughts that I've been exploring for pretty much all of my life, to be honest. Even way before I discovered the Alexander technique, I was already interested in music and meaning and how we're thinking and mindfulness. So these are not new ideas, and I'm not, even though Alexander discovered these things, Alexander didn't make any of this up. He was just discovering universal principles that are about how the mind and the body work and what our habits are and how our habits can be helpful or unhelpful. So I'm starting to see a lot of yeses popping up here. And yeah, so let me ask you this. Can you think of an example? Can you think of an example in your musical practicing. So let's go into imagining. I mean, you're not practicing right now because you're watching my video. Thank you for being here. But imagine for a moment, if you can go back to your last practice session. And I can do that. I just did that myself. As soon as I asked the question, I'm remembering my last practice session, which was actually really fun. But can you put yourself back into that and remember what you were doing? And can you remember how in any way you may have been more focused on a result than on your well-being? And go ahead and type in the comments, just put a yes, or actually type in I remember. Type in I remember if you remember, and again, if you're watching the replay, your comments count too. So go ahead and type in if you remember an instance where kind of your focus became more interested in what you were doing than in how you were doing it. Can I go ahead and, no, I can't type in anything during the broadcast. I typed in these things earlier, the things that are popping up, but Jill says yes. And I'm getting an I remember from Kay, yes. And Linda says, I remember, yes, absolutely. So can you remember what you were focused? Oh, thank you. Jill just answered my question. Jill says increased tempo. So you were noticing a change in your tempo when you were not focusing on your well-being. And increased tempo, I assume that you mean that you got faster. Is that what you meant, Jill? That you started getting a little mindless, not paying attention to being centered in yourself, and maybe the piece started running away from you and you were no longer with the metronome, or you were no longer kind of on track with what you were doing. You got pulled out of your center. This is another way to think of this, is that you're pulling yourself off center. Okay, so does anybody else have an example? Like Jill came up with an example of what happened when she was focusing on results more than on how she was doing it. Yes, here we have Kay. She says increasing tension. That's perfect. Actually, you're just leading into my next question for all of you, which is, how do you feel when you do that? Okay. So Kay says she notices increasing tension, right? So when let's just do this. You want to try this right now. Just sit for a moment and notice a little bit of ease in your body. Can you do that? Give a thumbs up if you're noticing some ease. Let me see a bunch of thumbs up, like traveling across the screen. I love those. Those are so cute. So notice a little ease in yourself. Okay, there we go. Good. Now notice that you're a little more centered physically, emotionally, when you start to notice a place of ease. Okay, relative ease. Doesn't have to be perfect ease. That doesn't even exist. So I want you to go ahead and type in a place of relative ease that you notice. All right. So I should see a big long list of places that you're noticing right now of ease. And we're just going to do a bunch of this because it's going to help us as a group to become a little more centered. Right. So I'm noticing my feet are starting to release, my arms, my back, my neck. My breath is a little easier. My arms, eyes. Jill says shoulders. Great. Yes, Yola says shoulders, back. I'm noticing my thighs. Kay says feet. Great. So if you're noticing that your body is starting to, as a whole, just calm down a little bit, you may notice that you're a little more centered. Okay, give a little thumbs up if you're feeling a little more centered. And Yola says jaws, toes. Linda says jaw. Francisco says forearm. Yes. So I'm going to move on, but I want you to keep, like, throughout this video, you can practice bringing your attention back to noticing ease, even as I continue to talk. I want you to kind of keep that rolling commentary going on. And anytime you notice a new place pop up, put it in the comments, because it's really helpful to everybody who's watching to see those places popping up, because then that's a reminder for everyone else. So that's our goal for the rest of the video. I'm just throwing it out there. We want to start making paying attention to our well-being more important than what we're doing. Okay, so for instance, right now, I'm doing this live broadcast with you. That's what I'm doing. However, my well-being needs to be primary. It needs to be of primary importance to me. My well-being has to be more important than how I'm talking to you. See what happens? I'm sure you can tell. Maybe put a wow face if you can tell how my ease is like going away. If I get really excited and intense and I really want to get my point across, it's probably a little scary. It's like, no, thank you. You know, you want to back off away from me. Can you tell that I'm getting a little more intense and that my body's getting tenser and my voice is getting faster? Like Jill said, she increased her tempo. I'm getting excited and increasing my tempo, and the tension is increasing. And that's because I'm more focused on getting my point across than on paying attention to my well-being. So, does anybody else do this? Do you do what I just did? Do you do that when you play your instrument? That's the million-dollar question of the day. Do you care more about the notes on the page? Or it's like you're staring at the music and trying to get all those notes. Do you care more about that? And do you care more about expressing yourself to the audience than your well-being? Yes, Jill says yes. I do it too. I'm guilty. Let's have a guilty party. But I want you to feel guilty again. Going back to the beginning, this is not about feeling bad about yourself. This is human nature. See, I'm already doing it again. I completely forgot about my well-being. This takes practice. This is a skill. And there is, well, Alexander technique is the best way that I have come across in many, many years of exploring mindfulness types of mind-body work. The Alexander technique is by far the best way that I have discovered to remind me how to take care of my well-being and to be centered with my mind, my body, well, I kind of personally add in the soul spirit awareness. That's not necessarily explicit in all Alexander technique classes, and not all teachers go there. But for me personally, to leave out the heart is a huge mistake. So I don't do that. I bring the heart and love and life and meaning and everything into my teaching, because I'm an artist. How could I not do that? You're an artist. You've got to play your music from your heart, right? You want to be able to express what's in your heart and your soul through your art. But you can't do that if you're trying. You can't do that if you're working hard. You can't do that if you're intense, because you're literally blocking your expression from flowing through yourself. See, what we need as artists is flow. I mean, great athletes talk about flow. Artists, we need to learn how to step into flow. Okay, so, well, I'm just reading my notes here. I'm confused by my notes. Okay, did you see what happened when I got confused by my notes? I became much more interested in what I was doing than taking care of my well-being. So it's a constant like coming out of yourself and then remembering to come back. It's like, who cares about my notes? It's more important to take care of my well-being and share what is spontaneously coming up in the moment. And that's musical, that's artistic, that's how to love and enjoy life, that's how to have great relationships. I mean, it's like the key to everything. All right, so Tell me if this makes sense. I'm getting nice yeses popping up. So I would just love to see a flurry of emojis. Now, can you just, because this is also, you know, this is like behind the scenes stuff, but I would love for my work, our work together actually is more accurate. I would love to let this work that we're doing spread like a virus, like a good virus around the world. So that's why I always ask to share the video and tag the video. And if you give me like millions of emojis, then Facebook likes that and it shares my video more. So it's selfish for me because it's good for my business, but really deeper than that, I just know it's good for the world. And we're going to help more people if we share it. So I appreciate all your comments and everything. Yola, oh, yeah. Yola says, yeah, I was confused by my notes. I'm glad I'm giving you a laugh. I know, it's like life happens and it doesn't wait for me. But what's great is that life keeps happening. I keep messing up. I keep making mistakes, but I'm learning and I get excited every time I remember. Every time I notice that I'm getting all intense, I'm more sensitive as I practice Alexander technique every day. I get more and more and more sensitive. So I'm more aware sooner that I'm pulling myself off center. And so I just keep improving. And I think I teach better when I'm more human and notice it. So thanks for your laugh back at mine. That's good. Okay, so what can you do instead? I want you to try this today. So actually, this is your challenge. This is your homework for between today and next Monday, or whenever you choose to do that. Before I give it to you, please, if you're not a member of my free Facebook group, come join us. We have so much fun. It's a great group. And you can ask all your questions. You can learn more about musical well-being. I do an Alexander technique etude like 3 times a week. I'm live doing this 2-minute etude with you. Come to the Mind Body Practice Tribe and learn this etude. You can also learn it on my YouTube video. It's called The Cycle. You learn it in just a few minutes. It takes 2 minutes to do it twice a day, and you just get better and better at being centered, and your music making gets better. You feel better and you play better. So come join the tribe, and then we can check in with each other on this homework assignment I'm going to give you right now. So here's what I want you to do. Choose a really simple activity that you do every day. Okay, and then I want you to type in the comments, like, this is your way to stay accountable and improve your life now. It's by making a commitment to yourself and sharing it with everybody here. What is a simple activity that you do every day that you can use as a way to practice what I'm going to tell you? So here's the one that I'm using right now. I give it to my students a lot in the beginning: brushing teeth. Almost everybody I know brushes their teeth twice a day. So you probably brush your teeth every day, I hope, and if you don't, you should. Or maybe you make coffee every day, or you get a glass of water every morning when you wake up, or you walk out the front door every day. You turn on the computer every day. Those are just some choices. So what I want you to do is choose an activity to pay attention to every day for a week, and put a little note, like a Post-it note or something, near where that activity takes place so that you can't miss it. And it's like, for instance, I put it on my bathroom mirror so that every time I go to brush my teeth, all of a sudden I see this reminder for myself. And you can put whatever you want on that Post-it to remind yourself of what we talked about today. A fun thing might be to put number 1 on that Post-it. Since today's topic is the number 1 mistake, you could put number 1 there, and it'll remind you that you're number 1, right? You're not a mistake. You are it. You are everything. You are the center of your universe. You're the center of the universe, actually, because there's infinitude in every every direction around you, so you are automatically in the middle. So just put a number 1 or whatever you think is going to help yourself most to remind yourself that your well-being is more important than the activity that you're about to engage in. That's it. It's a very, very simple homework assignment. So give me a yes if you are going to do this. Just put yes, or I will. Put I will into the comments if you're going to do this. And then everybody can see that you said you would do it, and it's going to be more likely that you're actually going to do it. And then I'm really going to check up on everybody in the Mind Body Practice Tribe. This is going to be our assignment for the week. Not assignment. That's not a good word. I don't like that. It's not an assignment. This is an experiment. This is a challenge. This is your challenge for the week. And I love you, Jill. Jill just says, yes, I will. Fabulous. Great. Francisco, yes. He says, I will. Yes. And Kay, I will. Yes, I love you all. Good. And Jill says, we need you here. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yola, I will. Fantastic. If you're watching the replay, come join us in the tribe. Type in I will, and you can be part of this challenge that we're doing this week. Okay? It's going to be fun. We're going to talk about it and further this discussion in the group. So I think that's about it for today. If anybody has any other comments or questions, now is your chance to dive in and put them there. And please, if you could just take a moment to share this video, maybe to another music group on Facebook that you're a member of, that would be fantastic, because then a lot of people, you know, with similar interests to yours are going to see it. I think that's it. So yeah, join my tribe if you're not a member, and let me know if you liked this video. I would love to get your feedback. You can private message me if you hated it. Don't make that public. No. No, really, I love to communicate with all of you. The best place to do that is the Mind Body Practice Tribe, but private messages, emails, anything goes. And I'm going to have an Alexander Technique course starting soon. I've been working a lot on it. I'm super busy, but I'm getting to it, and I'm hoping to have it ready for all of you at some point in February. That's my goal, but as I'm free to change my deadlines for myself because life happens. So value your well-being more than what you're doing. That's today's tidbit, major, gigantic tidbit. You're number 1, so treat yourself like you're number 1. And I will see you in the practice tribe. Have a wonderful day and great week, and I hope you can make it for my show next Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Okay, happy music making, and thank you, Yola. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for all of you who watched the replay. Don't forget to type hello if you were watching the replay. If you're new, tell us where you're from, too. That's always interesting. I love to see where everybody's from. Okay, happy music making. Love to everybody out there.